Setup, scene breakdown. 1. Opening image, the courtroom and first impressions. The story opens inside a busy courtroom, filled with people waiting for their cases. The camera, or narration, focuses on James Jim Carter, a 75-year-old black veteran, slowly rolling himself into the courtroom in his wheelchair. His worn military jacket is neatly buttoned, adorned with old medals. His hands shake slightly, whether from age, past injuries, or both, but his eyes are sharp and observant. Thought 2. The judge's disdainful introduction. Judge Randall Thompson, a well-groomed, arrogant, middle-aged man, glances at Jim and sighs. He barely hides his impatience. Judge, Mr. Carter, you're representing yourself today? Are you sure you understand what that means? Some quiet chuckles from the opposing side and a few spectators. Jim simply nods, unbothered, adjusting his medals. Mosh 3. The opposing lawyer's confidence. On the other side of the courtroom, Nathan Ellis, a slick, overconfident lawyer in an expensive suit, shuffles his papers. He smirks at Jim as if this will be an easy win. Nathan, whispering to his assistant, "This won't take long. Poor guy probably doesn't even know the law." His assistant, Emily Martinez, a sharp young woman, looks uncomfortable but stays silent. 4. The courtroom's doubt. The jury and spectators murmur, exchanging doubtful glances. A few people shake their heads, assuming Jim will be overwhelmed. A young man in the audience whispers, "Why doesn't he just get a real lawyer?" 5. Jim's silent strength. Jim doesn't react to the murmurs or mocking. He calmly adjusts his reading glasses and pulls out a thick folder with carefully prepared documents. He scans the room, analyzing everything like a soldier on the battlefield. The judge sighs again and bangs his gavel. Let's get this over with. 6. First questioning. The judge tries to undermine him. The judge, already biased, starts questioning Jim in a condescending tone. Judge, do you even have legal experience, Mr. Carter? Jim, I've spent my life studying regulations, sir. You tend to learn the law when the system tries to break you. Some of the audience members shift in their seats. The judge looks momentarily thrown off, but quickly regains his smug demeanor. 7. The conflict is set. Nathan Ellis stands up confidently, ready to crush Jim's case. He speaks fast, throwing out complex legal jargon, assuming Jim will be lost. The judge watches, already assuming Jim will stumble. But Jim Carter doesn't flinch. Instead, he leans forward slightly, listening, with the quiet patience of a man who has seen worse battles. The tension is set, the underdog versus the system. This sets the foundation for the drama, making the judge's eventual shock even more satisfying. Would you like to add any extra details, like a personal backstory moment or rising conflict scene breakdown? 1. Jim's opening argument. A calm start. The courtroom settles as Jim clears his throat and begins speaking. He speaks slowly, deliberately, laying out his argument with simple yet precise language. Your Honor, this case isn't about pity. It's about justice. The law is clear, and I intend to prove it. The judge raises an eyebrow, still unimpressed. The opposing lawyer, Nathan Ellis, smirks. 2. The judge tries to dismiss him. Judge Thompson interrupts immediately. Mr. Carter, this isn't a storytelling session. Do you even have the right legal references, or are we just supposed to take your word for it? Jim doesn't react. Instead, he calmly opens his thick folder and slides a neatly highlighted legal document forward. The judge glances at it, and for the first time, his smirk falters just slightly. Caution 3. The opposing lawyer's arrogance. Nathan Ellis steps in confidently, speaking fast and drowning Jim in legal jargon. Your Honor, let's not waste time. Mr. Carter's arguments are based on an outdated interpretation of the law. He clearly doesn't have the expertise to understand the nuances of... Jim interrupts, not loudly, but firmly. Actually, counselor, if you'd read the most recent case law, you'd know that ruling was overturned 3 years ago. The courtroom goes silent. The audience leans in. The judge narrows his eyes. Nathan stumbles for a moment, quickly flipping through his notes. 4. Germs the tables. Jim, now in control, presses forward. Jim, I may not wear an expensive suit, but I know the law, and I know my rights. He begins quoting legal precedents from memory, effortlessly countering every point Nathan tries to make. Nathan starts sweating. The judge shifts in his chair, sensing the case slipping. 5. The judge's last attempt to undermine Jim. Judge Thompson leans forward, trying to regain authority. Impressive, Mr. Carter. But tell me, if you're so knowledgeable, why didn't you hire an actual lawyer? A few snickers from the courtroom, but Jim remains unfazed. He leans back in his wheelchair and lets a small smile form. Because, Your Honor, I've fought battles my whole life where I had to defend myself. This is just another one. The judge stiffens. The mood in the courtroom shifts completely. The tension peaks, Jim's ace move. Jim reveals a critical piece of evidence, a legal loophole the opposing side completely missed. He slides another document forward. Nathan snatches it up, quickly scanning it. His face drops. This can't be right. The judge grabs the paper, reading carefully. The courtroom is dead silent. Jim waits, patient as ever. 7. The audience's shift in perception. The spectators whisper, now seeing Jim not as a frail old man, but as a brilliant strategist. Emily Martinez, the young legal assistant, watches Jim with growing admiration. The once dismissive audience members start nodding in respect. The conflict is now fully escalated. Jim has flipped the courtroom dynamic, but the judge and opposing lawyer aren't ready to back down yet. Would you like me to add more drama or refine any parts? Scene breakdown. 1. Jim's powerful speech, the moment of truth. The courtroom is silent, the weight of Jim's argument hanging in the air. Judge Thompson shifts in his chair, visibly uncomfortable as he rereads the document Jim presented. Nathan Ellis, the opposing lawyer, desperately scans his notes, searching for a rebuttal, but he has nothing. Jim leans forward slightly, his voice steady and strong. You assumed I didn't know the law. You assumed I wasn't prepared. Just like how people assumed I wasn't capable when I came back from war in a wheelchair. The audience watches intently, some nodding in realization. 2. The judge's last-ditch effort to save face. Judge Thompson clears his throat, trying to reassert control. While this is certainly an impressive argument, Mr. Carter, we must still consider. Jim doesn't let him finish. No, Your Honor, we must follow the law, and the law is on my side. He points to the document again, highlighting a section proving his case beyond doubt. A long pause. The judge's face hardens, not in anger, but in reluctant acknowledgement. 3. The opposing lawyer concedes. Nathan Ellis sighs heavily, knowing he's lost. He stands up, fixing his tie, and turns to the judge. Nathan? Your Honor, the defense has no further argument. Murmurs ripple through the courtroom. Jim has won. Not 4. The judge's transformation. A moment of respect. Judge Thompson exhales, finally looking Jim in the eye. His arrogance is gone, replaced by something else. Respect. He straightens up and, in an uncharacteristically subdued tone, announces his ruling in Jim's favor. Judge, the court finds in favor of Mr. Carter. 5. The courtroom's reaction. A shift in perception. A moment of silence, then a wave of applause from spectators who doubted Jim earlier. Emily Martinez, the young legal assistant, smiles proudly, inspired by what she just witnessed. Nathan Ellis packs his briefcase quickly, avoiding eye contact, his earlier confidence shattered. 6. Jim's poignant exit. The final word. Jim adjusts his old military jacket, wheels himself toward the exit. As he reaches the door, a reporter rushes up, microphone in hand. Mr. Carter, how does it feel to prove everyone wrong today? Then smiles slightly. Jim, I didn't prove them wrong. I just reminded them who I've always been. With that, he rolls out of the courtroom victorious, not just in the case, but in changing the way they see him. This moment cements Jim's transformation from underestimated veteran to respected legal mind. The judge, once dismissive, now sees him in a different light. Would you like to add anything?